The stench of smoke and fear hung heavy in the air. Torches danced wildly, casting spectral shadows on the small hut at the edge of the ailing forest. From the crowd, Brander bellowed, "Witch, come out! You've cursed our well!" A voice from the mob cried, "Our harvest withers because of you!" Liana stood before the gnarled door. The mob's fury hit her like a heat wave, yet her feet remained firmly rooted. Loud and clear, Liana called out above the din, "Stop! You are mistaken! Morwen is not to blame!" Brander stepped forward, contempt in his gaze. "Out of the way, girl! What could you possibly know?" Liana retorted, "I know the forest is suffering. It's dying. Could it not be that the well is drying up because of it, and not because of a curse?" At that moment, Morwen stepped into the doorway, her knees trembling. The mob surged forward. Morwen gasped to Liana, "Liana, you must flee, now!" "I won't leave you," Liana retorted. Morwen continued, her voice urgent, "You must! The forest needs you! Go!" With a final surge of her strength, Morwen raised her gnarled wooden staff. A blinding silvery light shot forth and enveloped the villagers, who paused, bewildered. Urging, Morwen cried, "Run!" Liana bore the weight of Morwen's trembling body through the dense undergrowth. Breathlessly, Morwen directed, "The path left behind the moss-covered stone." Liana panted with effort, "I have it. Hold on, Morwen. I'll get us to safety. Lean on me." Morwen said, "You are strong, child, stronger than you know." "I must be," Liana replied, "for you, for us." Every step was a struggle, yet Liana's resolve grew, firm as a young shoot in rocky soil. In the safety of a small moss-covered cave, Morwen collapsed, coughing. Liana asked, "Morwen, what's wrong with you? What about the well? Why do they hate you so?" With a voice thin as dry leaves, Morwen explained, "They don't understand. The well is more than just water. It's a nexus of forest magic. When you drained the forest, the well's magic also began to dry up. I diverted its remaining essence to the oldest trees to save the forest. That's why the well itself could no longer give water." Her voice filled with realization, Liana said, "So they are to blame themselves, and all this time you made the sacrifice." Morwen replied bitterly, "They only saw their own suffering, not what they caused." Beneath the canopy of an ancient, wise tree, Morwen struggled for breath. She said to Liana, "I cannot go on, Liana. My strength is spent. But you must complete the task." Liana asked, "What task? What must I do?" "Find the 3 star shards," Morwen replied. "Star shards?" Liana repeated. "Are they jewels, magical stones?" Morwen weakly shook her head. "No, they are insights, truths that were lost. Find them, and you will be able to reweave the broken bond between humanity and nature. You must understand, Liana. Understand, act, and feel." Liana said resolute, "I understand. I will find them. I promise." A soft rustle announced Finnick. Without a word, the fox led Liana to an ancient root network. He let out a soft sound and rubbed his head against a particularly mutilated root. Liana whispered, as if speaking to the fox, "What is this? Are you showing me this?" She paused, as if listening, then continued, deeply affected. I can feel it, like veins that have been severed. Those were humans. That is their doing. A silent scream. I hear it, Finnick. I hear it. Finnick vanished, leaving Liana alone. She knelt down, her fingers stroking the rough bark. Reverently, she said to herself, "It's all connected. Every tree, every branch, every root, a single heartbeat." She breathed deeply. This is it. This is the first shard. Not just to see the pain, but to feel the unity of all things. After a moment of silence, she added, "I understand, Morwen." Liana followed the stream, which inevitably led her closer to the village. She thought aloud, "The water should be clear here, as clear as in the high moors. But what is this?" She sniffed. "This smell, musty, foul. It gets worse the closer I get. The stream is sick, just like the forest." At the river bend below the village, a pungent smell hit her. Between the stones, the remnants of village life floated. Liana retched in disgust. This is it. This is the source. They just throw everything in here. Their waste, their leftovers. They are poisoning their own water. They are poisoning the forest and blaming Morwen. Her voice grew hard and angry as she added, "This must end. I will end this." Determined, Liana began to gather smooth pebbles with bare hands at the source of the contamination. Stone by stone, she built a small, symbolic dam in the stream. As she worked, she said to herself, "Not just to understand, to act." That's what Morwen said. Here I begin, to separate the pure from the impure, to tend to a wound. She placed the last stone and continued, "This is the second shard, not just to recognize what is wrong, but to do what is right, even if it's just a small beginning." Liana found Morwen again in the sacred grove. She knelt before the old woman. Liana said, "Morwen, I have seen the forest's wounds, the poison in the river, and I have understood what you have done all these years." With a weak yet clear voice, Morwen urged her, "Tell me." Liana explained, "You didn't just protect the forest, you protected them from themselves. You drew their hatred upon yourself, so they wouldn't have to see the consequences of their own actions. All your pain, your solitude, it was a shield." After a long, trembling exhale, Morwen said, "A shield grows heavy with time, child." Gently, Liana placed her hand on Morwen's arm and said, "I see you now, Morwen. I do not see the witch I feared as a child. I see a guardian, and I feel your pain. This is the third shard, isn't it? Compassion." With a barely perceptible smile, Morwen replied, "You are ready." Liana entered the dusty village square. The elders waited. Ortron, the oldest, crossed her arms. She said sharply, "You were with the witch. One can smell the forest on you." Calm and steady, Liana replied, "I was with Morwen, and I was in the forest and by the river. I know why the well has dried up." Ortron snorted. "The witch cursed it. We all know that." Liana countered, "No, you poisoned it, with the waste you cast into the river. The river feeds the well. You made the forest sick, and Morwen tried to heal it. You sought fault with her instead of looking into your own hearts." Ortrun grew furious. "Outrageous accusations! You speak against your own village, against our traditions!" "Bring the house of the village elders." Liana turned to Alwyn, whose kind eyes betrayed uncertainty. "Alwyn, you are a wise man. Look." She showed him a pebble from the clean upper reaches of the stream and a muddy stone from below the village. "This is the truth. The water above the village is pure, and below it is a cesspool." Alwyn said hesitantly, "But Morwen's magic, it is unsettling." Liana explained, "Her magic has kept the forest alive. She diverted the little pure water that remained to the oldest trees. She sacrificed herself." As Liana spoke, as if nature itself wished to confirm her words, small, delicate blossoms suddenly unfurled on the windowsill, where withered herbs had hung. Only Alwyn noticed them. He stared at the blossoms, then at Liana. His voice was filled with new insight as he said, "Nature itself proves you right. I was wrong. I had closed my eyes. You speak the truth." Liana met Brandor at a rocky overhang overlooking the village. Brandor grumbled, "Alwyn told me what you said. I don't know what to believe." Liana retorted, "Don't believe my words, Brandor. Believe your own eyes. Go to the river, smell the water, look at the wounds on the trees that your fathers inflicted. Morwen did none of that. She only tried to pick up the pieces." Brandor looked at the village, his voice softening. "I called her a witch. I incited the people. If what you say is true," Liana said, "it is the truth, and we need your help to make amends. Your wrath almost destroyed her. Let your strength now heal her." Brandor nodded slowly and heavily. "By the ancestors, what have I done? I was blind." He looked at Liana. "I will help. Lead us." Led by the thoughtful elders and the remorseful Brandor, the villagers approached the forest edge. Liana stepped forward, her gaze meeting Morwen's tired eyes. Loudly, so all could hear, Liana called out, "Morwen, we come not to accuse, but to plead. Please forgive us our blindness, our fear, our hatred." Brandor stepped forward and said, "I, above all, beg for forgiveness. I have done wrong." Liana continued, "We no longer wish to live against the forest, but with it. Teach us, Morwen, teach us how to heal." Morwen looked into the faces that had feared her for so long. Slowly, she raised her gnarled wooden staff and nodded with dignity. Morwen's hut became the heart of a new covenant. Under her guidance, Liana and the villagers united their strength. With a now stronger voice, Morwen instructed, "No, Brandor, the stone must lie across the current. That way it catches the silt. Liana, the young saplings need more water. Bring them closer to the bank." Liana called back, "Understood. Alwyn, will you help us over here?" Alwyn replied, "With joy, child, with joy." Hands that had once carelessly destroyed now worked side by side. Every young plant was a silent vow of atonement. The scent of damp earth and fresh green mingled with laughter and conversation. Amidst the newly planted clearing, Liana and Morwen knelt by the old moon well. Together they planted the first new tree. "For the forest," Liana said. "And for the village," Morwen added. Together they spoke, "For the covenant." As their hands touched the earth, a soft gurgle rose. It grew louder, and then the water, clear and pure, began to gush powerfully from the well. Liana laughed with joy and cried, "It lives! The well lives again!" Her voice filled with gratitude. Morwen said, "Harmony is restored. You have succeeded, Liana." The forest breathed a sigh of relief, and with it, the hope for the village's future.